Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready to really stretch those brain muscles.
I hope so.
I think you're going to need to, for this one, we're going deep on stop scrolling, here's why you feel lost, and how to fix it.
Oh yeah, this one is a doozy.
Yeah, and this source, it kind of like turns everything upside down when it comes to like how we usually think about reaching our goals, you know?
It really does. Instead of, that classic climb the ladder kind of thing, it says we might like actually find more satisfaction and even be more financially stable by sort of like stepping outside the system completely.
Okay, well, hold on a sec. You gotta explain that one. What does this source even mean by the system, and how's it making us feel lost?
Okay, so think of the system as this big web, right? It's got institutions, it's got things that like influence us, like social media, all those algorithms and advertising strategies. They play a role. Even parts of our healthcare and education, they all fit in. And the
Yeah.
wild thing is, this source says this whole system a lot of times it actually benefits from keeping us like distracted.
Distracted.
Yeah, like disengaged and not really aware of what we can really do.
You're telling me there are like forces out there that actually make money off of keeping us stuck in this like loop of just scrolling and consuming.
That's exactly what stock scrolling is saying. But it goes even further than that. It talks about like real people, real stories who broke free from this whole cycle, and they did some incredible stuff. I mean, we're talking people healing themselves from serious illnesses just by changing how they think, and others who built businesses, successful businesses, from nothing, just because they tapped into something. This power, the source says we all have inside us.
Whoa, that's a pretty big claim. But honestly, a part of me is thinking, come on, is this for real? I mean, sure, we've all heard the success stories and everything, but is it really that easy?
Well, Stop Scrolling gets that, It knows that reaching that kind of freedom, it's not like magic, right? You don't just poof change overnight. It's about getting how powerful our intentions are, how focus works, and then taking action. It's about making that choice to step away from all the noise, figure out what really matters to you, and then taking those steps, focus steps toward your goals.
So it's not just about like wishing things were different. It's about actually actively making our own reality.
Exactly. That's it. The source even uses this super powerful analogy. It's about an Indian elephant that's been trained, since it was little, to believe it can't break free from this flimsy rope, even though, it's strong, it could rip trees out of the ground, but stays tied up because it's learned to believe it can't break free.
Wow, I see what you mean. We're all kind of like those elephants, right? Super
Okay.
powerful, capable of amazing things, but we hold ourselves back. It's our own doubts and those invisible chains of the system. So how do we break free?
Well, the source throws out this radical idea. It says, just imagine you were born somewhere remote, like completely cut off from all technology. No phones, no internet, none of that constant like information overload.
I can't even imagine that kind of silence. It's like we're always plugged in.
I know, right? But think about it. How would that kind of environment change how you like relate to your own thoughts, how you see the world? Stop Scrolling says that this digital noise all the time, it actually blocks us from reaching our full potential. It's like we're constantly being pulled in different directions, never fully, present.
Okay, I'm seeing how this all fits together, but
Yeah.
how do we actually use this in our own lives? We can't all just like escape to a deserted island.
No, we don't have to. The source says, we can start by just being more aware of what's distracting us. All the time, Think about it. All those catchy jingles, the notifications popping up, those social media feeds, all curated.
It's kind of scary how much of our lives is designed to keep us hooked.
It is. And when we're always being bombarded with that external noise, it's easy to lose touch with our own inner voice, The source wants us to take back our attention, rediscover how powerful a focused mind can be.
So it's about being mindful. How are we using our time,
Yeah.
our energy?
Yeah, exactly. And Stop Scrolling pushes this idea even more. It says instead of just, drifting through life on autopilot, we should pick something to build our future around, a skill, a lasting skill, something that we can really master and pass down, to future generations.
Okay, so instead of jumping from one thing to the next, we should be focusing on building a skill that will really benefit us long term. But with so many choices out there, how do we even figure out what that is.
And that's where Stop Scrolling gets really interesting, and we'll get into that right after this.
All right, so before the break, we were talking about finding a skill and mastering it, something that lasts. And Stop Scrolling gets, really specific here. It suggests checking out skilled trades.
Skilled trades.
Yeah, like becoming an electrician or a plumber, maybe a pipe fitter, even a network systems administrator, that kind of thing. When you think about building a stable future, those aren't usually the first things that pop into my head. Why does this source specifically point to those fields?
Well, it says these are all jobs that are always in demand, the pay is steady, and they're hands-on skills, the kind that robots can't just take over. And you don't always need a fancy college degree to get started.
So you're saying these trades, they can give you a real shot at being financially secure without ending up with a mountain of student loan debt. That's a pretty strong argument, especially these days.
Yeah, exactly. And the source even mentions websites, myplan.com, Indeed, those kinds of places. They can give you info on salaries, how many jobs are out there, what kind of training you might need.
So it's like having a roadmap for a solid career, something you can really build a life on.
Right, right. But here's where it gets really interesting. The source, it can kind of blew my mind with this one. It says joining a union is like having the secret weapon for your career.
Okay. Got to be honest, unions, not really my area of expertise. Break it down for me.
So unions, they don't just help you find work, but a lot of them, they'll actually pay you while you're learning the trade, apprenticeships, training programs, that kind of thing.
Wait, so I can get paid to learn a valuable skill. Where do I sign up?
I know, right? And on top of that, a bunch of these programs, they're totally free. So no debt while you're getting these skills everyone needs. The source even says you could potentially be making six figures or even more by the time you're 20, 21 years old.
That's huge, especially for younger people who are feeling kind of lost, overwhelmed with, all those typical career paths.
Absolutely. And even if those specific trades, they don't speak to you, the source says keep exploring. Maybe you're good with your hands, building furniture, or always wanted to be a chef or even a barber. The key is to find something that lights you up, that you're good at naturally, and then figure out how to become a master at it.
I love that. It's not about fitting into some, pre-made box. It's about finding your own path and building a life you're excited about.
Exactly. And speaking of building a secure future, Stop Scrolling doesn't stop at just getting a job. It actually encourages you to think about being your own boss.
Wait, are we talking about starting a business?
Yeah.
That sounds a little intimidating.
It can be, yeah. But the source breaks it down so it feels, doable. It says, start small. Build a side hustle based on the skill you've been working on, and then use word of mouth, recommendations to get your name out there. Build a reputation, slowly grow your clients.
So you could be working a regular job,
Yeah.
Getting that experience, that security, while you're also building your own business on the side.
That's the idea. And as that business grows, you can, transition, go full-time entrepreneur, create something that's all yours that can support you and your family down the line.
This is exciting stuff. But I got to ask, how does this connect back to all that mind power stuff we were talking about earlier? The whole visualization, manifesting your desires thing. That part still feels a little, fuzzy to me.
Oh, that's where Stop Scrolling takes us next. And trust me, it gets really interesting. It introduces this idea of visualization as a real tool for making those dreams a reality.
Okay, I'm listening.
Yeah.
But you got to break this down for me. Visualization, manifestation. It all sounds kind of, mystical,
I get it. But the source, it starts with a really simple example. Visualizing a cup of coffee.
A cup of coffee. How's that going to help me manifest my dream life?
It's all about training your mind to focus on what you want. The source says, really picture that cup of coffee, all the details, the smell, the warmth of the mug in your hand, the taste of that first sip. The idea is when you consistently focus on something you want, you're sending a powerful message out there to the universe, and the universe, it starts aligning things to make it happen.
Hold on, are you saying that just by thinking about something, we can make it happen? That sounds, too good to be true.
It might sound like that, yeah. But the source says it's not about magic. It's about lining up your intentions and your actions with what you want. And it even tells this story, a personal anecdote about visualizing a cup of coffee, and then bam, someone unexpectedly gives them one. They call it a coincidence, but it makes you think.
Okay, that's pretty interesting. But Visualizing a cup of coffee, that's one thing. How do you do that with bigger goals, like financial success or getting ahead in your career?
That's a great question. And it's exactly what the source talks about next. It says start small, then slowly expand your visualizations to include those bigger goals. Maybe you start with picturing yourself earning an extra $50,000. And then as you get more confident, more belief, you gradually increase that amount.
So instead of just wishing for a bunch of money to fall in my lap, I'm actually picturing myself earning it, getting that promotion, closing that big deal.
Exactly. And the source is clear. Visualization works best when you combine it with action. It's not about sitting around waiting for stuff to happen. It's about using visualization to get clear on your goals, get motivated, and then take those steps to make it real.
All right. Now I'm starting to see how it all fits together.
Yeah.
But let's say, you've mastered your skill, built a successful business. You're starting to see some real money coming in. What's next?
Well, the source actually gives a bit of a warning about investing. It's not something to just jump into without thinking.
Yeah, that makes sense. I can see how it would be easy to get caught up in the excitement and make some rash decisions.
For sure. And the source is really clear. Investing, it takes knowledge, experience. It even uses that old saying, a fool and his money are soon parted, to emphasize how important it is to learn from people who've been there, done that in the investing world.
So don't just dive headfirst into the stock market or the latest crypto craze thinking you'll get rich quick.
Right. The source says, find experienced investors, get advice, learn the basics of managing your money well, and then slowly build your investments based on smart decisions. It's about being strategic, thinking long-term, instead of chasing those fast profits.
That's actually really solid advice. It's easy to get swept up in all the hype, but stop scrolling reminds us to be smart, be careful, and protect the money we've worked hard for. But before we move on, I'm curious, how does this all tie back to the mind-body connection we touched on earlier?
Oh, this is where Stop Scrolling takes this fascinating turn. It introduces this idea that, get this, the mind can actually heal the body.
Wait, are we talking about like the placebo effect, or is this something deeper?
It's definitely exploring those deeper connections. The source gives examples of people with, like, terminal illnesses who actually defied the odds through changing their mindset, through meditation, through nutrition. It doesn't get super detailed, but it definitely suggests there's this powerful link between what we think, what we believe, and our physical well-being.
So it's not just about visualizing your way to $1 million. It's about understanding that your mind plays a huge role in your overall health.
Right. That's one way to look at it, yeah. And the source, it highlights how incredible our bodies are, how they can heal when we take care of them, especially by cutting back on the toxins like the stuff in processed food.
Okay, that makes sense. We've all heard about eating healthy and all that, but this source seems to be saying that our thoughts, our beliefs, they can actually impact our physical health.
Exactly. And this brings us right back to the main point of Stop Scrolling. It says that a lot of systems out there, they discourage us from thinking for ourselves, from believing in ourselves, because it's easier to control people when they're distracted, when they feel powerless.
So all that noise we talked about, the distractions, the messages telling us we need this product or that experience to be happy, it's all designed to stop us from reaching our full potential.
That's the message Stop Scrolling is sending. It's a call to action to break free from all that, to quiet the noise and rediscover the power we all have inside.
This is powerful stuff. What's the one thing we should all be doing to break free from these systems and reach that true freedom? Stop Scrolling keeps talking about.
Stop Scrolling lays it out pretty clearly. Spend time with yourself, write down your vision, and take action. It's about being aware of what you're thinking, focusing on what you want, and then making choices that line up with your goals.
And it says that mastering each level of life brings you closer to that ultimate freedom.
Exactly. And to, inspire you even more, the source even mentions specific verses from the Bible about manifestation.
Really? Which verses are those?
It mentions Isaiah 55:11, where it says, "So is my word that goes out from my mouth. It will not return to me empty, but will accomplish what I desire and achieve the purpose for which I sent it."
Wow, I see how that connects to this whole idea of intention and manifestation.
Right. And there's also Ephesians 3:2. "Now to him who is able to do immeasurably more than all we ask or imagine, according to his power that is at work within us." And Habakkuk 2:23, which says, "Write down the revelation and make it plain on tablets so that a herald may run with it. For the revelation awaits an appointed time. It speaks of the end and will not prove false. Though it linger, wait for it. It will certainly come and will not delay.
It's powerful how these verses, they really do connect with this idea of taking control of our thoughts, believing in ourselves, and taking action to create the life we want.
And that's what Stop Scrolling leaves us with. You've heard the stories, you've seen it happen, and now you have the tools to change your life. What you do with them, well, that's up to you.
It all comes down to that one question. What do you want to achieve?
And that's a question we hope stays with you long after this deep dive is over.
Back again for the deep dive. We've been really digging into Stop Scrolling, and honestly, it's given me so much to think about.
It really is, it's a whole different way of looking at things. Instead of feeling like we're stuck, at the mercy of all these systems and whatever life throws at us, Stop Scrolling says, hey, you've got the power to change things.
It does. It shows us what might be holding us back.
Yeah.
Those distractions that just drain our energy, those beliefs that keep us, well, playing it safe, playing small. But the exciting part is it gives us this framework for breaking free, for creating a life that's really true to us, to what we want.
And it all comes back to those three things, remember: intention, focus, and action. We can't just sit back and hope things change. We have to be intentional about where our thoughts go, where we put our energy.
And I think the source does a great job of showing how this isn't just some vague idea. It gives us real practical steps, things we can do right now, whether it's trying out a new skill, starting a side hustle, or just being more aware of how we spend our time.
Exactly. Those small steps, if you do them consistently, they can make huge changes over time. And remember those Bible verses we talked about. They remind us that we've got this well of power inside us, a power that can help us get through anything, achieve anything we set our minds to.
I love that. It's not about some overnight miracle or some secret formula. It's about finding that strength we all have and taking those steps, even when they feel scary, toward the life we want.
And Stop Scrolling ends with that incredibly powerful question, the one that can really change everything. What do you want to achieve?
It's a question that makes us get honest with ourselves, connect with what we really truly desire, and then start taking action, even if it's just one tiny step today. You might be amazed at what happens, how much you can change when you tap into that power you have inside.
And remember, the source makes it clear, this journey, it might not always be easy, but it's full of lessons, it's full of growth. And at the end, there's that deep satisfaction that comes from creating a life that is really and truly yours.
So to everyone listening, we ask you that same question. What do you want to achieve? Think about it. Let those dreams come up, those aspirations, and then take action. Even just one small step. You might be surprised at the amazing transformation that unfolds when you unleash the power within you.
And remember, that path, it may have bumps along the way, but the journey itself, it's full of valuable lessons, growth, and in the end, the real joy of building a life that is truly authentically you.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Stop Scrolling. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep reaching for those dreams.